I just want to open it up to our audience here. Kind of that broad question. I know that many of us are at different stages in our career and lives, and client bases look different, but there's some similarities. What are y'all kind of hearing that is keeping your clients up at night? What's keeping you up at night? I'll go ahead and open it up to anybody who'd like to throw their 2 cents in here.
Well, I just think all these ships parked in the ocean, if that stuff gets unloaded and we start to get back to a somewhat of a normal distribution, how do you see that affecting everything?
Well, I mean, I think, that there's no secret that the supply chain has caused a huge, disruption in terms of services, and obviously it has been an impact in terms of inflation. Honestly, I don't see the supply chain really regulating any time in the near future. So kind of goes back to the thesis of inflation is here, at least in the foreseeable, at least for the foreseeable. And so I just think that there's a lot of complications going on right now. I've spoken with a lot of people in a variety of different industries, and trying to find help in terms of workers, employees, et cetera, is really really difficult right now. And some of it can just be chalked up to people having been able to rely on some of the government assistance programs. Other things can be that people have had success with investing in the stock market. A variety of things that are keeping people maybe on the employment sidelines right now. That's not being picked up in the employment numbers just because they're not actively seeking work. So I think manpower wise, it's gonna create continued issues on that front. And then the intercontinental logistics of getting materials over, and just all of the conflict that exists with China right now is not helpful either. So I just think there's so many issues right now to overcome to revamp the supply chain, that it's going to take some time, and it's going to take some effort to get there.
It's interesting to see the re-domestication of manufacturing, in particular chips. I think Texas is a home base for that. So you start seeing that auto manufacturers looking for alternative ways to get the chips they need, whether it's from alternatives from China or domestic, and there are all those solutions that are coming. But it's a real issue for me as a municipal bond investor, because those ports also generate a lot of revenue. And they don't generate revenue unless those ships dock,
Working
and unload and load and move out. So they're important parts of the local economies for a lot of the U.S. municipal markets, and something I keep an eye on.
That's good. You have something to add there, Tim?
Yeah, well, obviously, what the other gentleman have said is true. So what we've tried to do is look for who can succeed with our current challenges, right? So we decided larger retailers are going to have a better opportunity. They're going to have more resources, just like the larger restaurant chains succeeded when all the restaurants were closed, and they switched to carry out in no time, and companies like Chipotle and McDonald's, et cetera, saw their sales increase. So for example, we bought Target, particularly when it fell a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, because the larger companies now are renting their own boats. They're not even going through the normal channels. They're doing what they can. They have more resources, and they're pursuing opportunities to make sure their goods get into the stores, because that's, they have enough staff. They have enough people to think through and plan and work. It's a workaround, right? If you can't go around it, go over it. If you can't go over it, go under it. And so we've looked for opportunities like that, and also look for companies that have domestic sourcing. And then also you think about, some of the software names look great now. Right? The software companies don't have a supply problem, right? The software companies don't have products sitting out there in a container. The software companies aren't seeing wage inflation because they weren't paying minimum wage. Some of these companies, the average person there made $15,000 a month. That's not where the inflation is. The inflation is with the lower end of the wage scale. So it makes you when you see these problems, then how do we work around it? Also on the inflation side, our view, and it's probably consistent with everybody else here. We think the wage inflation is going to stick. The real estate inflation is going to stick, but some of the supply chain stuff is not going to stick.